charge.
Morning, people. Well, you join me as I set sail. So, in all honesty, bit of a sad morning. I don't like doing what I'm doing today, which is negotiating all the parked cars in my street, which are everywhere right now. But most importantly, I'm just not a fan of leaving. It's very hard. People think that our job's all a doddle and it's all living the dream. And to an extent, I'm not going to disagree with you entirely, but would you really want to leave home for the next basically 19-20 weeks? Most people would probably not want to do that. And I've got to say, it's the worst part of my job. Makes me sad. I'm leaving behind my friends, my family, my girlfriend, my home, normality, and it's really difficult. It's I'm going off to do something fantastic and meet lots of interesting people and have good times with them, hopefully. But the truth of the matter is that I'm also going to be, I'm losing everything that's familiar to me for quite a while. And sorry, I'm just going to stop the sat nav from talking because she's yabbering on in the background here. The fact that you're leaving behind all the things that make you feel, normal, I guess. It's a very disruptive thing to have happening in your life. So it's bittersweet. This morning, heading out is bittersweet. But nonetheless, we're on the road. And I am going to take you on a journey from here to Andorra. It's going to take us all of today until the evening. It's currently 5:45 in the morning. I've got to get myself to Folkestone to start off with to catch the Eurotunnel over to Calais. Lots of people ask what's the best way of getting out to the continent when you're driving, and the simple answer is I've done all of the different ways you can possibly imagine. I've been on all of the ferries, all the various crossings, because you've got obviously Dover, Calais, etc., that kind of end of the country. You've got the Portsmouth, Southampton crossings that go across to the north of France. You've even got the extreme way of doing it. I say extreme, it's a good way of doing it actually. Is taking either Portsmouth or Plymouth to Santander in northern Spain and heading around that way as well. I've done all of these things many times, and I will do it more than once a year as well, obviously. So it's a crossing which I make over and over and over again, and I've calculated all the costs and the timings. And the simple fact of the matter is, the cheapest, quickest way to do it, certainly to get to the Pyrenees, is to take Eurotunnel and to drive. It's just quick, it's cheap, because the ferries these days quite often are more expensive than Eurotunnel, with far less flexibility and a way more hassle. It just takes so long. I mean, Eurotunnel, you get there, you park up, 20 minutes, you're at the other side. It's just such a doddle, and it just makes it a no-brainer, really. Well, we're just pulling off the motorway.
Take the exit.
As she says. Taking the exit, and And that's the first 91 miles of my journey done. So we're just pulling in now to the Channel Tunnel. This one's got a real actual person in it. Oh my god. That was all too easy. So, most boring place in the universe awaits. It's really not very exciting at all in here. So I'm on load C. I'm not sure that the signs are working.
After 50 yards, turn right.
Shut up.
Go straight on.
Stop your blathering.
Turn right.
Shut your jibber jabber. So yeah, if you've never been here before, sort of to the Channel Tunnel, it really is not an interesting place. It's basically like a crap motorway services where no one really has any time to stop anyway, because you kind of drive in and almost immediately have to drive out again. So hey, what's the point? But there you go. Got 24 minutes to wait before I even get called at the moment, and then you sit around for about another 20 minutes waiting. So yeah, I guess I'll go and get a cup of coffee, because anybody who knows me will be stunned to learn that I haven't had time for a cup of coffee this morning. So who knows, this might all be some kind of fantasy world, and I'm pretending that I'm awake, because obviously without coffee it's doubtful that this can possibly be reality. So anyway, I'm all loaded up here, carry a lot of stuff on the way out, and the way back as well, of course. So bike's on the back, only bringing the one with me this year, but you can see back there's a spare set of wheels sat in the window just there, look. So spare set of wheels, bike, all the spares that you need to maintain not just my bike but also the guiding bikes this year as well. So I've got lots of spares for those guys back here too. All my normal clothes for being away from home for 4.5 months, plus enough bike clothes to be able to ride a bike every day of the week for the next 4.5 months. Yeah, it adds up to quite a lot of kit, especially when you take into account there's lots of, you know, we have lots of things like, you know, electronics that we use, so laptops and cameras, GoPros, that kind of stuff. I can see 2 full face helmets back there. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It takes me about a week to pack, because there's so much stuff that I have to have in here basically, and it all has to go away nice and neatly, because I'm going to take 2 days to do this trip. Well, I say 2 days, it'll actually be about a day and a half. So I should arrive at about 7 o'clock tonight, I should think. Maybe a bit later than that actually, probably more like 8 o'clock tonight. I'll have a bit of a snooze hopefully, cook a bit of dinner back here in the van, and then I need to be able to somehow get the bed out, which at the moment is going to be fun because I've got so much crap in the back there that there's nowhere to actually unfold the bed. That's the bed just there. It just pulls out. But yeah, it's looking a little bit busy in here this year. I seem to have, even though I thought I'd brought less stuff than normal, somehow I seem to have more stuff than normal. So go figure. Don't know how that works. Anyway, so yeah, packing is a bit of a pain in the backside. Came out this morning and one of the neighbours had blocked the van in. Fortunately, I was just about able to wiggle past him to get out. So yeah, and amazingly, you won't believe this. So I've got my carbon fibre Santa Cruz Bronson on the back of the van, posh bike, you know, worth quite a bit of money. And came out this morning, and Lenka, my girlfriend, was just on her way to work at the same time, and she said, "Oh, the garage is open." And I couldn't believe that. It's just not possible. I thought maybe she's looking at the wrong garage, and lo and behold, yesterday in the prep, she gave me a hand to carry the bike carrier out, the rear mounted cycle carrier out, to put on the back of the van. And I must have just, in my absent-minded, occupied state with all this stuff that I was prepping yesterday, forgot to shut the garage door, and I actually left the bike unlocked, sat right next to the door as well, so literally anybody walking past could see the bike inside the garage, which was open, and I absolutely bricked it, ran across there in my PJs, and yeah, it was still there. So obviously I'm not in a very high risk neighborhood. So yeah, true story. Right, well, let's go get a cup of coffee. Really not an exciting place to spend time. It's extremely boring. Like I say, it's like a crap motorway services. It's really run down as well. Dirty toilets where nothing works properly, and basically just places to buy expensive food and duty free. Basically, it's not exciting. I'm not a fan of high street coffee. I'm especially not a fan of bad high street coffee, and that sucks. I just generally don't like the Eurotunnel terminal experience. It's really, really crap. Anyway, so apparently 4 minutes till we get called. Says though, just over my shoulder there, look. So let's get back to the van, and hopefully by the time we're loaded up, ready to go, we can get moving. So the next stage is what I like to think of as the boarding Grand Prix. What happens is there's obviously dozens and dozens of vehicles all waiting to get onto the crossing. We're all sat around drinking our crap, expensive, bad coffee. And the second it comes up on the board that it's ready to board, people like take off at 1 billion miles an hour in a rush to kind of be the first aboard. I can't see it makes a lot of difference really, but we'll see how well we do, shall we? It says first call in 1 minute. First call in 1 minute, so that's kind of like we're under starter's orders right now. So, oh, it flicked. I thought it was about to say let's go, but nope. Oh, come on. The suspense is killing me. I'm going to keep recording. I don't care how boring this is. The other thing to consider is coming back. And when you come back through Calais, I find that the Calais terminal is nearly always late. I've probably been there 20 times in the last 10 years. Hey, lights out and away we go, and we're off. Here we go. There's definitely some people got a jump start there. That's just cheating. Got the passport ready here. Oh, we're rolling forwards. Morning. Cheers, thanks. Great stuff, thank you. Morning.
Bottles on this one.
Detached and switched off.
Yeah, we'll have to check. Lane 1 far left, please.
Right, okie doke. Having my gas bottles checked, that's a new one. Let's see what happens in here. So the upshot of having my gas bottles checked was the guy got me to open the window and said, "Alright mate, have you got gas bottles?" And I said, "Yes, but they're switched off." And he went, "That's alright then." That was it. So that was what I would describe as a fairly pointless diversion. I'm hoping, as you can see, the sky at the moment is nice. I drove through a bit of rain on the way here. And I don't like having to do these big drives if it's bad weather. It really sucks driving, you know, for a day and a half in rain. It's not a lot of fun. You get very worn out. I can never sleep very well the night before one of these trips. I think last night I managed to clock up maybe 4 hours. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. So yeah, the rain's just an extra distraction. I also find that bizarrely, you end up with your bike not working very well after driving through rain, and that might sound obvious, but what I mean by that is that you just get this road grime that builds up on your brakes in particular and just absolutely destroys your pads. And your brakes just don't seem to like it. You know, you get this kind of sticky black gunk all over everything, and it's clearly spray off the road full of diesel and dirt and, you know, fumes and bleh. And it just gets all over your brakes. And actually I've found that it can really not just like ruin your brake pads but also your discs as well. It's just, especially if you ride without realizing it, you burn it into the surface of the discs and it ain't never coming off, and all you can do basically is replace your discs. So I've developed a new technique. I don't know whether I've got them handy here. Yeah, there you go. In the back here I carry a bag of shower caps and reusable zip ties as well. And what I do is I take a shower cap, stretch it over the disc and the caliper, zip tie it into place, and then at least you're going to keep some of the worst of that like filthy spray off these components that are clearly quite susceptible to oil ingress. It's not, I mean, you know, anyone who services their brakes or their bike knows full well that you don't get any oil anywhere near your brakes, right? But yeah, think about it. Think about when you're driving through road spray, it's full of oil. So you're basically just showering your bike in oil. It's not good. And there we go, into the train. Now, like I say, we're quite early onto this train. I reckon there's probably 20 vehicles in front of me, so we've probably got a fairly long drive through the train to get to where we're stopping this morning. So we'll be off nice and quick. So that, you know, my qualifying run through the car park to get onto the train is going to pay dividends. I've got a, you know, a prime starting position for the main event, which is the disembarkation in Calais, which is a slightly weird experience. You'll find it's quite odd because you kind of get off the train and suddenly you're on the other side of the road. And also the train is very good at hiding your sat-nav signal. So you tend to find that your sat-nav, by the time you get off the train, not only have you been in the tunnel, but also you're in this metal box as well. As you can see, not a lot to see out of here. Yes, your sat-nav will have lost its signal, and you're suddenly reappearing somewhere completely different to where it was before, and my TomTom kind of has a bit of a wig out for the first 10 minutes or so whilst it tries to work out where the hell it is, because it needs to find a GPS signal. And then it's like, really? Are you sure you're suddenly in France? Because just now you were in England. This is confusing. And yeah, so you're getting off the train and you see a lot of people bumbling around going, I don't know where to go, because their sat-nav isn't working and they're suddenly in France and they've got to figure out what motorway junctions they want to take. So fortunately I've done this enough times to not be too stressed by it, but yeah, you see some people having a really big panic. Not going to take us long to get off because I counted the number of cars when I went to the loo just now, and there's actually 16 cars in front of us. And and they've just opened everything up, so we are in France. So there I was worrying about rain, and it looks like over this side it's lovely and sunny, so I think I'll be more worried about sunglasses, but can't tell till we get out. It could just be grey skies and sunshine. In fact, I think it is grey skies and sunshine. So here we go, getting out of the train.
After 200 yards, turn right.
News arrive on France, or something. So there we go, blue skies. That's good news. I actually just done my shower cap trick anyway, just to be on the safe side. Still got quite a long way to go, obviously. When I say quite a long way to go, I mean 600 miles to where I'm staying tonight, and then several hundred the next day as well. So it's a long old trip. So here we are, though, en route, or as they say in French, en route. Yeah, hopefully it'll be a nice easy drive this time, because sometimes it can get a bit snarled up around old Paris. And last time I drove through Paris, it absolutely screwed me over and basically tried to take me through a whole bunch of tunnels that weren't tall enough for the van to fit through. Over here on the left is the area you queue to get in the first place on your way in to the tunnel on the way home. So we'll be seeing that in a few months. That's not good planning, is it? Why would you stop for fuel the second you get off the train? It's going to be super expensive, surely. Right, so we're going to be heading to Paris to start off with, that's for sure. And then I'm just hoping that today we're not going to get stuck. Paris is just a horrific place to drive around, and quite often the quickest route is to take the inner periphery road, which sinks you into the traffic but gets you past it fairly quickly, but it's not a lot of fun. Beautiful romantic Paris. It's such a sight to behold. I can never stand driving around this part.
After 800
Paris.
meters, keep left, A86, towards Nantes, then stay in the left lane.
And as usual, I've been stuck in horrendous traffic, and despite a combination of two different sat-navs, it's still been pretty crap.
Keep left, then stay in the left lane.
C'est le canard, Kevin. That's a joke for one person only. Yeah, as usual, the drive around Paris has been a crock. Still driving. It is now 6, coming up on 6:40. That means I have now been driving for 13 hours. As you can imagine, I'm quite tired now. Had enough of driving. Annoyingly, quite a lot of thunderstorms have driven down as well. You know, I was saying earlier on about how I was hoping the weather would hold. Yeah, that didn't happen. So yeah, I'm currently in the Dordogne, heading for a campsite just outside, well, I say just outside, a little bit north of Toulouse, so that I've got a quick short hop to Andorra tomorrow. So I'm hoping I'm going to get there tomorrow lunchtime-ish. Right now, yeah, I'm at the stage where I'm having to fuel myself quite heavily with sugar just to keep myself going. Although actually I'm currently drinking a sugar-free tipple. This is Schweppes Agrumes, one of my favourite things that you can actually get in France. Yeah, it's basically like a sour, like a bit like a bitter lemony kind of thing, but with other stuff in it, and it's quite nice. As you can tell, 13 hours into this drive, I'm not making the greatest amount of sense. Some would say that that's normal for me, but I would say in this case, I am probably making less sense than normal. There's a lorry pulling out very, very slowly into the road. Let's just go around him. He's travelling about walking pace. Whoa, that was clever. So, yeah, this is the Dullness out of the window here. It's very pretty, actually. So as I sit here doing these never-ending drives, basically I listen to a lot of podcasts these days. Quite a bit of music as well, but today I haven't done any music. I've just been doing solid podcasts. I've got quite a lot to get through, and if you're wondering what's on my podcast playlist, today we have had the Empire Film Podcast, the BBC Radio 5 Kermode and Mayo Film Podcast. Not just film podcast though. There has also been No Such Thing as a Fish, which is the QI Elves podcast. Very funny. I've listened to a couple of those, of each of those, in fact. Simon Mayo's Confessions podcast. Not that I've got a Simon Mayo obsession, but actually that's quite a funny one too. Currently I'm listening to the Parc Fermé podcast, which is an American Formula One podcast. I also listen to For Formula One's Sake, which is a very rude British podcast about Formula One. And I've been listening to Unexplained, which is a kind of spooky story podcast. And another one which I discovered recently that I'm catching up on. It's a very prolific American podcast about unexplained stuff called Astonishing Legends. And Astonishing Legends has been going since about 2014, I think. And I've listened to a couple of years worth so far, so I'm catching up with them. That's a good one as well. So lots of podcasts anyway. And yeah, I sit here, I try to keep moving as much as I can. I think I have stopped a few times, but generally speaking I stop off and have nothing more than like a quick sort of 5-minute stop. I did have a break at one point for 20 minutes or so, had a sandwich in the back of the van. But my main focus is to just keep moving. I don't want to spend too much time stopped. It's, yeah, like I say, it's now coming up on 6:45, so it's 13 hours since I left the house, and that means that I've been driving pretty much for 12 hours, I guess, if you take the ferry out of the equation. But you've also got an hour of time difference as well, so we've jumped ahead an hour. So actually I've been driving for 11 hours. However, I still have 1 hour to go. Currently got 140 kilometers to get to where I'm going tonight, which is a village called Montec, and it's kind of a pretty place next to a river. It's what the French call a municipal campsite, so it's a council campsite, and amazingly they cost like $10, and they're as good as like the best campsite you'll ever stay in anywhere. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be tonight. I now have a peage coming up, so I'm going to have to slide across and get a ticket from the machine. So here we go, right turn by the river. I'm not sure whether it's Montesh or Montec, but nonetheless, we have arrived at that place that I cannot pronounce. I'm usually pretty good with French pronunciations. I would have thought Montesh would have an E on the end of it, and this doesn't. But there we go. So yeah, no, I've got a camper van, so I tend to try to make use of it. I used to stay in hotels going backwards and forwards, but these days I know a few good places to camp out on the route, and it's always very pleasant too. So today, because I've done it all, I've done a massive chunk all in one go. It's it's now 13 hours since I left the house, and that's in real time. Yeah, that's been a long day. That's been a long day. So I am very pleased to be arriving right here, right now. Right, let's go and check in. So we're all set up for the night. It's going to be a pretty short stay because obviously it's just tonight. I've arrived and it's like 8 o'clock or something now, so I've got to make myself a bit of dinner, go to bed, and I'll probably be out again by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so it's a bit of a flying visit. But nonetheless, my cover here was out staying in Devon down on Dartmoor last week, and it got very wet and I forgot to unroll it when I got home to dry it back out, so it now stinks. So the main reason I've got the awning out is to just give it a bit of an airing. I always pop the top up because it's good to be able to stand up when you're cooking. I've got my windscreen covers on to keep it dark in there. My God, I sleep well in this van. Honestly, I sleep so brilliantly in there. But I'm going to keep it pretty simple tonight. I'm not plugged into any electric. I'm just going to make some dinner, chill out. I say that, I've got to do emails. Finally settled in, so just cooking myself some dinner. So tonight it is beef curry. Yeah, it's van life is nice, I guess. It's quite a small space in here, but actually I find it very livable, which is quite cool. Anyway, so I've just been texting Danny and Dave, our guides, who are both, it seems like they've both been out all day drinking beer while I've been driving all the way across Europe, but hey, I am envying them right now because I am absolutely shattered. So in a bit I'm gonna take a pew at my table and have some dinners, and then I'm gonna rattle off some emails and then bed down for the night because I am falling apart at the seams this evening. I'm so tired, it's unbelievable.